Hi there, I'm Chris Moflam. Welcome to African Findings Explained, a series of discussions designed to shine a light of clarity on research findings on topics relevant to ethical leadership for African development. As we approach the end of an unprecedented 2020, in this episode, I will discuss how technological innovations might shape investment opportunities and new normal economies in a post COVID-19 era. Policy shifts on investments in technological innovation were already a winning proposition before COVID-19 hit the world and altered the look and feel of economies globally. Then the trend accelerated, and technological change promises to be the most powerful driving force for economic development in the decades ahead. When we look at the goods and services that African economies produce, it comes down to really two things. It's going to be a function of growing your labor force or a function of growing your productivity. So, if you are a manufacturing facility owner and you want to increase your production of, say, processed cocoa beans or whatever it is that you make, you can either hire more people or you can give your existing workforce better tools, better technology to make them more productive. Africa has varying degrees of development in startup investments in emerging technologies. According to the African Development Bank, the power of the fourth industrial revolution comes from innovations built on new platforms and their successful commercialization. There were over 400 active technology hubs in Africa in 2019. A technology hub is a government established park where universities, private firms, and research organizations collaborate to innovate and design products and services. Africa can capture some of the most important technological advances that we are going to see shaping economies of the future. They include 5G, health technologies, and green technologies. 5G is the fifth generation of cellular networks that promises productivity through vast improvements in speed, responsiveness, and scale to support all kinds of bandwidth hungry applications and technologies. If we think about how we get cellular service in today's world, there is a big cellular tower set up somewhere. It's going to be super tall and it's going to project out waves of information. Then you'll be able to receive over a multi-kilometer sort of radius. 5G is a different way of approaching it. Instead of having a big cellular tower that covers kilometers and kilometers of ground, you have much smaller localized 5G boxes that beam out signals. And now, if you are in, say, a city, you are not talking about one tower for many square kilometers. You are talking about one box for a couple of square blocks. The advantage of this is that these 5G cells can send out data at a much higher frequency, which means you can get it at a much higher speed. It's actually so fast that it could rival some of the traditional internet service providers, things like cable internet. And when you get internet that's this fast, that's this reliable, it starts to enable a whole list of exciting technologies that can be built off it. The most transformative feature of 5G technology is its ability to accommodate the tens of billions of connected devices expected to come online in the coming years as the Internet of Things becomes a reality. By the way, the goal behind the Internet of Things is to have devices that serve report in real time, improving efficiency and bringing important information to the surface more quickly than a system depending on human intervention. So, 5G will create opportunities in industries such as data driven agriculture that uses the right farm data at the right time to make better decisions that improve long-term profitability. Immersive virtual meetings to boost remote team productivity, and real-time automation of processes on factory floors and inventory tracing. Regarding health technologies, they are playing a critical role in improving the efficiency and quality of healthcare with the potential to leverage convenience and longevity. Some trends have developed during the COVID-19 pandemic and should strengthen in the decade ahead. The use of telemedicine has exploded since the onset of the pandemic, and these higher utilization levels are expected to persist. Over time, healthcare will likely be transformed from an episodic service into a lifelong process of managing and maintaining health, driven by technologically savvy health consumers. Then, there are messenger RNA vaccine technologies, a relatively new type of vaccine to protect against infectious diseases. To trigger an immune response, many traditional vaccines put a weakened or inactivated germ into our bodies, not mRNA vaccines. Instead, they teach our cells how to make a protein that triggers an immune response inside our bodies. That immune response, which produces antibodies, is what protects us from getting infected if the real germ enters our bodies. Research on mRNA vaccines has shown additional benefits compared to other types of vaccines, including shorter manufacturing times and the potential for targeting of multiple diseases. Significant developments in transformative treatment technologies are also expected. Drugs to treat cancer, for example, are now one of the fastest growing segments of the drug market. Some of the promising vaccines against COVID-19 employ mRNA technology rather than taking the traditional approach of using a weakened or dead virus. COVID-19 mRNA vaccines are designed to give instructions for our cells to make a harmless piece of what is called the spike protein. The spike protein is found on the surface of the virus that causes COVID-19. Once a COVID-19 mRNA vaccine is given in the upper arm, the muscle cells use the instructions to make the protein piece. After the protein piece is made, the cell breaks down the instructions and gets rid of them. Next, the cell displays the protein piece on its surface. Our immune systems recognize that the protein is a foreign enemy and begin building an immune response and making antibodies, like what happens in natural infection against COVID-19. At the end of the process, our bodies have learned how to protect against future infection. The benefit of mRNA vaccines, like all vaccines, is those vaccinated gain the protection without ever having to risk the serious consequences of getting sick with COVID-19. Finally, regarding green technologies, in 2020, the European Union pledged to go carbon neutral by 2050. China promised to do the same by 2060. A Biden administration plans for the United States to achieve a 100% clean energy economy and reach net zero emissions no later than 2050. World governments are expected to act on environmental regulations, incentives, and investments in 2021 to stimulate job growth and economic activity, aiding the recovery from COVID-19. Green technology policies create opportunities for renewable power generation and storage, smart batteries for vehicles and households, the use of hydrogen for industrial and fuel cell trucks, the digitization of buildings, and smart manufacturing. Thank you for listening. Please have a Merry Christmas and a healthy and prosperous 2021 and decade ahead.